My students were telling me today that they had some trouble with this item on their homework last night, so I'm going to demonstrate how to solve it. Now, if I look at the problem,
Harley
number 12,
Daly, come to the office, going home.
first thing I want to do is read very carefully the problem and try to make sense of it. So it says, use the properties of addition to write the numeric expression a different way. Simplify both expressions to show that they have identical results. Okay. I'm going to solve this problem using what I know about the associative and commutative properties of addition. I'm going to simplify it. That's what I'm going to do. Now, I've got students in the classroom right now. From time to time, I'll be asking them questions. And I hope that they are good active listeners as we do this video. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take away those parentheses. I do not need those parentheses because this is completely addition. I know some kids, they find that shocking. They hear about the order of operations and they know they're supposed to do it in parentheses first. But since this is 100% addition, we don't have to worry about the parentheses. Now, there was just one single subtraction or negative there. We would, but because it's addition and we have what they call the associative property of addition, I can take away those parentheses and group those add-ins any way I want, and I would still get the same sum. And I'll prove that in a moment when I simplify both expressions to show that I get identical results. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite this problem. I'm going to rewrite it over here. I'm going to say 8 3/4 plus 5 5/10 plus 9 1/4 plus 3 5/10. And the very first thing I want to do is I want to move those add-ins around. I want to move them around, and that's going to be the commutative property. When I think commutative property, I think about myself. I commute to work every day. I move from my home to my workplace every day. And when you do commutative, associative property, and commutative property of addition, you're going to be moving those add-ins around. And then I'm going to do associative property because I want to add my fractions or mixed numbers together, and I want to add my decimals together. So let's go ahead and try that out. So I'm going to say 8 3/4 plus 9 1/4 plus 5 5/10 plus 3 5/10. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my parentheses so I can group it to make sure that I add it the way I want. Because without parentheses, if I just start here and then add these two together, my next step would be to add 5 5/10 to the sum of these two values. But I don't want to do it that way. I want to find their value and then find their value. And so since I'm grouping them like that, and I'm using parentheses, this is the associative property of addition. So I'm going to group them together and these together. And this is going to make the addition part so much easier. It makes it so much easier because I'm going to go ahead and worry about my fraction parts first. 3/4 and 1/4. If I have 3/4 and I add a 1/4 to it, I'm going to wind up with 4/4, which is equal to a whole. It equals the whole. So I'm going to add that whole to my 9 and make it 10. So 10 plus 8 is 18. So I've got 18 here. Now, I'm not going to say 18 plus 5 1/2 or 5 5/10. I'm going to say 5 5/10 plus 3 5/10. Now, check out this decimal part. In the tenths place, I have 5, and in this tenths place, I have 5. And I know that if I have a tenth, 5 tenths and 5 tenths, that's going to equal a whole. It's going to equal a whole, and I'm going to tack that onto my 3 and make it 4. So this is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. So 18 plus 9 is 27. So I went ahead and I simplified that expression and I got 27 because I used the commutative property by moving those add-ins around. Then I used the associative property by grouping the add-ins together that I wanted to add together. And then I came up with my final answer. Now let's see if I get 27 when I work out this problem the way it was written using the order of operations. The first thing I have to do is what's in parentheses. So 5.5 plus 9 1/4.
Miss Pauletta, can you go to Miss Heather Hauser and
What I'm going to have to do here is I have to do some changing around. I'm going to have to either make this 5 and 5/10 a fraction, a mixed number, or I'm going to have to make this mixed number here a decimal. I think the easiest thing I could do here in this situation is to make them both decimals. And this is why. I know that 5.5, that's going to stay the same, but this 9 1/4, 9 is my whole number, and I'll put my decimal point, and I know that 1/4 of a whole is equal to 1/4 of a whole, and that would be written as 0.25.25. So I'll go ahead and do that. Now when I do that, 5.5 plus 9.25 is going to give me 14.75. Y'all agree with that? Do you agree with it?
Yes.
Now I need to bring this 8 3/4 down and this 3 1/2 down. Well, once again, I'm going to work from left to right because that's how the order of operations tell me to. And I'm going to have to convert this mixed number to a decimal, just like I did 9 1/4 to get 9.25. I'm going to take 8 3/4 to make it a decimal. Now, my whole number is going to be an 8, and then that 3/4 is equal to, all right, Randon? 75 hundredths, so 0.75 plus 14.75 plus 3.5 or 3 1/2. All right, so this one here, this is difficult to do the mental math with it. It's kind of difficult. Now 0.75 and 0.75 is going to be a whole and a half, 1.5. So I could have 8 plus 15 1/2 and get 23.5 plus 3.5. And I know that 3 1/2 and 3 1/2 equals 7. You agree with that? So, and then I'll just leave my 2 in the tens place here, just leave it alone and get 27. So, I wound up with the right answer on both sides, 27 and 27. But let me ask you a question, boys and girls. Which was quicker and easier? Alright, this is the first one, A. This is the second one, B. Which was easier, A or B?
B.
B was a whole lot easier. I was able to do a lot of my computation in my head, mental math. I was able to find the answer using what I know about commutative and associative properties of addition, and I was able to get my answer. I mean, it was a whole lot easier, and check out a lot less steps. I mean, a lot less steps than over here. It was a whole lot easier and a whole lot quicker. How many of you wound up with 27 as the results or the values, okay? I see hands up, half the class has their hands up. How many of you see now where you messed up?
I didn't know we had to have the answer. I thought we just had to have the expression.
Well, okay, so had you read the directions, made sense of the problem, and read your directions more carefully, you would have gotten the right answer, you think?
Yeah.
Okay? Okay. Yes, John?
If you are doing the K-prep, could you do them both to make sure your answer is correct?
Well, here's what I would do. You're doing the K-prep, that's time. Are you going to have time to do them both? I think it'd be better for you to master how to use the associative property or commutative property to help you find these sums. I'd master that now during the regular school year. That way when it comes time for the K-prep, you can use that skill, and it'll save you a lot of time. That's what I would do. All right, any more questions on it? All right. I'm glad it helped you.